Hi guys. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in China, specifically in Shanghai. If you read the Western news and the alternative news, there's a lot of lies and great distortions, very salacious kinds of statements being made on people being locked up, sad and unhappy and starving and all that kind of stuff. It's just that, it's lies. In general, things are okay in China. As you all well know, I live across the bay from Shenzhen in Zhuhai. I have relatives. We get daily updates of what's going on. They're well fed, aside from the fact that he uses basic conservative prudence in having a well-stocked larder at all times. That's his wife's responsibility, and she makes sure that he and the family is well fed. So they don't have anything to worry about. But nevertheless, all food is delivered. Everybody is eating in China, especially in Shanghai, and it's all paid for free by the Shanghai government. A lot of traffic this morning. Today's probably going to be a little bit of a warm day. You can see it in the air. You'll never see it. But essentially, China treats this outbreak very seriously because they have been bombarded with bioweapons since Donald Trump came into office, and he appointed John Bolton as Secretary of State. The guy who made the decisions to unleash bioweapons on the world is John Bolton. I don't really think it's former President Trump's decision. I think it was John Bolton who made those decisions. But nobody really knows. What I do know, and what I can tell you, is this. China believes the coronavirus is one of a number of bioweapons that have been unleashed upon the world. In particular, the coronavirus that is hitting China is not the same strain as what is hitting the West. And you have to understand that. All this stuff about vax and vaccinations and my freedoms and all this stuff that's going on in the West is not going on in China, because China has been hit with the lethal shit. Everybody else in the West has the little sore throat and cough, hardly anything to worry about version. And yes, there's people who have died from it, and yes, it can be bad for certain people. But the vast majority of people who ended up catching coronavirus in the West didn't suffer the kinds of stuff that you have out here in China. Stuff in China is very nasty. It's very bad. And China takes no precautions. It's a zero tolerance. And after the meeting in February between Biden and as well Blinken with the heads of China, where Blinken and Biden both told China there will be severe consequences if they don't immediately sanction Russia. And China says, I'm sorry. We are one nation right now. Russia and China are as one. We are as one nation. We don't control Russia, but we respect Russia. And you can't tell us what to do. We're not going to do it. And so severe repercussions occurred. What were they? Outbreaks up and down the coastline in China of this coronavirus. The worst one, most of them were suppressed. Most of them were suppressed. But Hong Kong was hit really hard. Shanghai was hit really hard. And Shanghai is still reeling. And so they're in lockdown because it's a state of war. And they're at DEFCON. And of course, none of this is being reported in the West. You're only hearing about starving people, agony, horrors, being locked up. Oh my God, the world's coming to an end. It's not. It's not. China has this well under hand. Now, I got to make this perfectly clear in case there are people who really are unaware of what I'm trying to say. And it's not that this particular event is the danger. It's that this is one of many events that are ongoing. Remember, I've talked about this over and over again. You have to keep this in mind, guys. World War III is not being televised, and anything you're seeing is just the tip of the iceberg and terribly distorted. What's really going on, there's an undersea war going on right now between submarines in the South China Sea. You know, you call it the South China Sea. It's actually the Pacific. Okay. South China Sea is around the Philippines. All right. And there's a lot of stuff going on with submarines. A lot of stuff. Can't tell you what it is because I don't know the details. But there's a raging war going on right there. As far as the Ukraine is concerned, Russia's kicking ass. The entire military force and full mobility of the Ukrainian military is kaput. It's gone. What's left now are the NATO leaderships that's ensconced within various bases. And the Russians are systematically taking them out one by one. The Euro weenies might want to get involved, but I think they're holding back. Something spooked them. Somebody bitch slapped them and told them, hey, you know, it's not the time. So after a lot of squawking, things have kind of died down a little bit. Eventually, Ukraine will be suppressed. So there's a raging war going on here on all fronts. Let's look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture. Asia. Attacks, fighting on the border with Russia, instigated by the United States. Russia's winning. Fighting, attacks, bioweapons, and undersea submarine battles on the borders of China. Instigator is the United States. As I have said this over and over again, please understand that provocations over and over again. Doesn't matter the reasons why. Always will have repercussions. You can't expect not to see retaliatory moves. You cannot expect that. Don't parse the individual details. Look at the big picture. Look at the people who's involved. There will be a reckoning. I don't know what it will be. The Deagle report clearly stated that whatever the consequences of all these activities and actions, it doesn't bear well for the West. And I tend to believe that. But you know what? The future is not yet carved in stone, no matter how it appears to be. Things can change. It doesn't look like they're going to change. It doesn't look like it's going to change, but they can change. And so everybody should be doing what's going on here and in China. You should be doing the exact same thing regardless of where you are. Whether you're in Angola, in Cuba, in the United States, in France, in Germany, in Canada. You should be prudent. You should be doing what my brother did, or my brother's wife did. You should have a stocked full larder. You should have, if you've got a room, it should be filled with food. Let's put it that way. Doesn't matter if you're going to use it or not. You should have that. For one thing, as prices rise, and they're rising, if you buy anything with the US dollar, it's rising. Now's the time to get things. Not 6 months down the road. Now's the time to get things. Get the basics. Coffee's nice to have, but rice fills your stomach. Okay. It's really nice to get all sorts of instant meals. Forget about instant meals. Stick on stuff that's lasts a long time so you can have a steady larder and not worry about it. Cans of peas, stuff like that. Just stock the larder. You should have cooking oils and various types. You can have all the flour in the world, but unless you have yeast, you're just going to be making flatbread, guys. So make sure you've got some dry yeast, okay? And forget about the Coca-Colas and the sodas and all that kind of stuff, all right? Just concentrate on having food there. When inflation rises, you have a larder that you can dwell on, and when opportunities come, you can replenish it with food from markets and your garden, because you should have a garden. Gardens are fun, and they offer fresh produce, and it's a good thing. Doesn't mean that you need to do it through World War III and all kinds of stuff, but you need to be prudent. Just prudent. Act like your grandparents. That's what I'm talking about right here. Setting things up for preparedness, just like your grandparents would. Okay? Tools. Men, women. Be a handy person. Okay? Be able to repair things, fix things. It's a good skill to have. And the more you're able to do it, so much the better. Some people are just experts in electronics. Others are mechanical. Others are wood. Have a skill. If not, healthcare, animal care, animal husbandry. Have a bicycle. It's not that you're preparing for nuclear Armageddon so much as it is you're preparing for uncertainty during times of change. Uncertainty during times of change may be on one side very, very bad, while on the other side may not hardly be anything. But at least you're prepared. At least you're ready. All that being said, there's 2 or 3 fundamentals that you must master that's not being talked at all about on prepper websites, shit hit the fan websites, or any of these doom and gloom websites. and that is involvement in the community. You have to know your neighbors. You have to know the social organizations that are in your community, and you have to volunteer and participate in them. Even if it's just 1 hour a month, you have to meet these people, you have to go out, you have to show your face, and you have to be kind, invite people, buy them a cup of coffee, know these people face to face. Always say good things, always smile. You're a part of a big city. Even in big cities, you have communities. Be part of that community. In times of strife, in times when things get tough, it's the community that survives, not the lone wolf, a lone individual. America is balkanized on so many levels, and the smallest level is the individual, where we're the lone wolf. We make it or die. Well, the situation's becoming very, very near catastrophic. You can't be a lone wolf. You have to, absolutely have to be part of something bigger, and that's society. Be kind, be helpful, be part of the community. I say it's being the Rufus. Pick up after the people. I don't care if you didn't throw that wrapper on the ground. It's in front of your house. You pick it up. You see something out of joint on the sidewalk. You clean it up. You see somebody in need. You give them a couple of bucks. Doesn't matter what other people think. It's not going to prevent you from getting rich, okay? You have to participate in the world, and that starts at the community. Families. Adopt a more traditional family, something your grandparents had. My parents were progressive, but my grandparents were traditional. The grandfather worked, grandmother stayed at home. She took care of domestic and finances. My grandfather worked and gave all of his money to my grandmother, and she budgeted it. There was always food in the house. Things were always taken care of. Okay? I do that in my life, and I'm never hungry. I'm never hungry. Okay? You have to adopt more traditional ways of doing things. And it doesn't mean gender roles, a man and a woman. You can do it with same-sex couples or whatever transgender relationships you have, 3 people, 4 people, it doesn't matter. There has to be roles, defined roles, and they're absolute. Not everybody can do this, not every family can do this, but you need to do this, okay? Media is out of control. It's no longer reporting anything. They're just fabricating lies for the most part. I see this in China, obviously, and I see this in news of Russia. If it's outside the United States, it's just complete fabrication and lies. How did the American-sponsored color revolution in Pakistan go? Can you tell me? No. Why? Because it's not well reported in the West. Yeah, the United States tried a color revolution, trying to topple Pakistan so they could put in a U.S.-backed leadership. And that's what they're doing. They did that in Ukraine. They did that in Taiwan. And they're arming Taiwan for battle. All this stuff. They just funnel money in. And I'm curious about this Morrison over in Australia as well, but I have no idea. You've got to be Australian to understand what's going on there in Adelaide. I got to tell you, I love Australia. I love Australians. I mean, I really, really do. But guys, what in the world were you thinking with this jackass? You had the most nicest, neutral country in the world, and suddenly you got him? So it's a mystery to me, and I don't understand it. It must be an Aussie thing. Okay. So I'm going to wind things back to what we're talking about at Shanghai. Shanghai is the front of a war, just like the Ukraine is a front on a war. Different weapons, different tactics, same objective: suppression and bleeding of China and bleeding of Russia. China will be ratcheted up. It's on a timetable. Eventually there will be sanctions. I wish there wasn't. But there will be reverse sanctions. And China does not play, as I clearly explained it before. They do not play. And if that happens, and you're in the United States, and you're not prepared with a larder and part of your community, you may suffer. I'm not talking destitute suffer, but I'm talking a degree of discomfort. You don't want to have that, so you need to prepare now. Okay. And guys, I'll pretty much leave that for here, okay? Regarding where all this is coming from, basically this is a supplement to the regular Metallic Man webpage and presence. You can call me MM, which is Metallic Man, or you can call me my regular name if we're communicating, but it's pretty much, you can call me MM. I really just want the world to be a better place. I really do. And I really want to help people. I'm not here to get rich. I'm not here to have a following and a lot of adoring followers. I don't think you guys really would adore me that much. But I do want everybody to do good. I mean, really, there's a good world out there. I want you to do good. And I want you to see the world as it actually is. As it actually is, not as you want it to be or how people are telling you it is. I want you guys to have a good life. That's all I want. So I'm going to go through the core concepts, because right now what's going on in the Ukraine, what's going on in Shanghai, same situation, different conditions. But you can survive both of them if you have a stocked up larder, if you are part of a community, if you are helpful and kind, and you'll be fine. If you have a problem with this advice, having some extra food in the house, being part of the community, having a skill to help the community, volunteering and smiling and making friends. If you have problems with that, you tell me. Leave it in the comments. Tell me why you shouldn't be kind. Tell me why you shouldn't have some prudent extra food around. Not why you can't.
This is my
why you shouldn't.
housing complex where I live in. Okay. It's in the morning. It's nice. People are out and about.
It's just going to be a little arduous depending upon your preparation. Preparation is everything. Okay? And at that, I really wish you had a good day. And we'll talk some other time.